what is going on? So, this video is coming a little bit unexpected, even for me. I wasn't planning on making a video like this, but today, April 4th, I found out that the Digimon Adventure reboot just launched today, and I knew it was coming, but I guess I forgot that it was in April. I wasn't expecting it till like March, I wasn't expecting it till like maybe the fall, or even just they announced it. I just didn't know when it was coming out, but apparently it was today. And I just kind of want to give some of my first impressions. And I was genuinely surprised. It was more than just like, updated visuals. It's meant to be a retelling. So before I get into it, spoiler alert. I was genuinely surprised. Like, it's retelling the story that I grew up with the original Digimon. I mean, granted, I didn't watch it in Japanese. I watched it in the English dub on, it was Fox Kids at the time. Jeez. But for one thing, like, seeing the characters again, it was fun. It was like, watching the MCU and seeing all the characters return, or even kind of like what I mentioned before when watching Gokaiger and, seeing some old faces. It gave me the same feeling, and I was actually generally surprised that the art style is pretty close to the original. Like it was very, like, I haven't watched the original Digimon series in a long time, but everything looks the same. I mean, other than, the aspect ratio now being 60:9. The color is a little bit deeper, higher definition, things like that. But they didn't outright change the art style. It was pretty much the same, other than like a few updated graphical visuals. But that was kind of it. Like it felt like watching something old and new at the same time. Now, in terms of the story, they're definitely going with a different narrative. I think, for one thing, it's going to try to be more focused on, let's see, in this Japanese, it's Taichi and Yamato, so Tai and Matt from the English dub that I grew up with. Because in the beginning, or in the opening sequence, like the opening, it features Taichi very prominently, and then in the ending, it features Yamato very prominently. So I think it's going to try to focus on them and their relationship with each other and everyone in their Digimon. I mean, even in the original series, the friction between Taichi and Yamato was always like a major sticking point in the series. But it seems like they want to kind of retell that story, with that being like a major focus, or a more major focus, because obviously it's only the first episode, so we have yet to really see where it goes. It could follow a more Evangelion rebuild route where, a lot of major plot points are the same, and then bam, one big event, and it changes the course of the entire season, and it completely deviates from the original. I don't think they're going to do that. The second option is it's going to retell the entire original Digimon season, but with more focus on the Taichi and Yamato dynamic, or it could just be its own completely different story as a whole. And I think it might be a combination of the last two options or routes that I mentioned. But like I said, it's only the first episode, so we'll see where it goes. The first episode is it's very different from the first episode of the original. This one, it starts out completely different. Like, the storytelling is a little modern, because as like a narrator kind of explain the digital world, probably should have mentioned this in the beginning. A lot of things are updated. Like, oh, everyone has a smartphone now. It's all set in the 2020. Yeah, it's all set in the year 2020. Everyone has a smartphone, so the idea of digital and electronics being part of our lives is even more prevalent than what it was in the beginning. And that actually sets up the tone for, I think, what they want to do with this season. But I'll get to that in a bit, because I think I was explaining something else. Yeah, so this first episode is completely different from the original. Because in the first episode in the original, everyone's sent to the digital world. They all meet their Digimon, but the first episode focuses on Tai and how he met Agumon, how he got him to Digivolve. With this first episode, well, for one thing, in relating it to the original series, he's not at camp yet. He's getting ready to go to that camp that would eventually send them all to the digital world. We kind of get glimpses of the other Digidestined, and we actually see how he meets Izzy. Something interesting is that he ends up going to the digital world even before he goes to camp. And he meets Agumon, and he gets him to Digivolve into Greymon. And he's fighting a different monster. It's actually kind of similar to whatever Diaboromon or Infermon's like infant stage Digimon level. It's like the jelly with the big eyeball, except like with a couple more details. And fights off the virus that is affecting the train lines. And it's doing two very different things. For one thing, it deviated from the original story because he went to the digital world first before anyone. Like, I think in the original series they all got thrown in together. In this one, it's Taiji gets in on his own, and then Izzy's actually able to communicate with them because he got the Digivice as well. You actually see flashes of their crests throughout the episode, with Taiji's being courage and then Izumi's being knowledge. I think it's trying to set itself up with a very different direction and tone, and which is why I think it's going to try to combine the last two options that I talked about, where it's going to kind of retell the original story while in its own perspective, but also creating its own new story at the same time. So we have yet to see whether everyone else gets thrown into the digital world in the same way from the original series, and whether they're all at camp or if they're all going to get thrown in individually in conjunction with going with a different direction. I think that it might try to set itself up in a more modern way, in that instead of everyone being thrown into a world that they don't know and then trying to find their way back, it might try to switch back and forth between the real world and the digital world, much like they did with I guess season 2, where they can kind of go in and out whenever. But I like that they're kind of showing a little bit more connection between the digital world and the real world, in that the reason why the train malfunctioned is because there was a virus, and Agumon or Greymon had to defeat the virus in order to return the train to normalcy, or at least get the emergency brake to stop. It's funny that I bring that up because it really reminded me of the second Digimon movie. Well, when I was in America, it was like a compilation of the 3 movies, and then it was the second one, and I think the name of that one was like Our War Game or something. And I think that's about the same name that the next episode is going to be, because at the end of this episode we actually catch a glimpse of Yamato and Garurumon. And the thing that makes it really similar to that movie is Izumi is telling Taichi, and I think Yamato can hear it too, that a virus has hijacked the United States weapon system, and if it launches the missiles, it could doom us all, kind of like in the movie. So it's gonna be really interesting if they, really, if they go to Omnimon that fast. I'm gonna be surprised. Also, just looking forward, it won't feel as epic, not because it's not a movie, but because they haven't established the bonds and relationship the same way. It's like they didn't earn it quite yet. The monster they flashed, or at least its eye, did look kind of similar to Infamon or Diaboromon, but then again, this monster with the jelly in the eye that I mentioned earlier was similar but different. Anyway, I digress. I just meant to mean that I think it's trying to establish that main plot point or plot device that they're gonna try to switch between back and forth like the second season, and the digital world is more connected to the real world than the original one. In that viruses that affect the digital world affect real life, or can affect devices in the real world. And I actually like that concept a lot. And I don't know if anyone remembers, but there was a Mega Man anime or Rockman anime that was based on the Battle Network series, or vice versa, depending on how you look at it. And any NetNavi that was doing something in the on the internet was affecting stuff that was happening in real life, and that was like the basis of each episode. And I think they're going to try to do something similar with Digimon. So yeah, anyway, stumbled through a lot of what I was talking about. Like I said, this was pretty spontaneous. Like, I didn't think about making the video until I felt it. Like, even anticipating this, I didn't really think about making a video on Digimon. But the spontaneity of finding out that it was coming out today, and watching it, I wanted to make this video. And I know I stumbled through a lot of my words and my thoughts, and hopefully I get better at this. I'm probably not going to do weekly or episodical videos with Digimon the same way that I'm trying to do with Kid Major, but maybe I'll stick around for the first 2-3 episodes, and then I'll do a thing at the end of the season and wrap that up. But I just want to share my thoughts and impressions, and based on the few comments that I saw, I think a lot of people are genuinely surprised how fresh yet original the reboot is, and I'm looking forward to more.